Kristen Jacobson.
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the anxiety therapist. Today I want to talk a little bit about a therapeutic approach called internal family systems. I'm actually making this video at the request of one of my current clients because I've started using this approach with him. I love the framework and I think it makes a lot of sense. And so I just wanted to kind of describe what it is because you can start to just kind of be aware of how this shows up in your own life, in your own internal family system, so to speak. And there's been a lot of buzz around the concept of the inner child that I've seen a lot, kind of all over the internet, all over social media lately. So I just want to break this down a little bit further so that it's better understood. So internal family systems was originally developed by Richard Schwartz. And if you have ever felt like there's a mini conference happening inside your head where there are a bunch of different voices offering their 2 cents on whatever decision it is that you're making, then this is kind of the premise of internal family system. It's a concept that sort of gives us a unique lens in terms of viewing our inner world akin to a family setup. So there are sort of various members or parts that we have that play very distinct roles. So if you think of your mind as sort of this bustling household with each member having their own personality and job and ways of dealing with stress, all of these parts or family members, so to speak, kind of fall into 3 different categories, and that is managers, firefighters, and exiles. And so each group has its own unique way of protecting us and preserving our inner peace, the same way that family members might look out for each other. So let's start with the managers. These are the parts that are the planners, the organizers, the worriers. They are all about keeping things under control. You can kind of think of them as that like overachieving older sibling who's always trying to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And their main goal is to prevent pain or discomfort from reaching the surface. So they're the ones setting up to-do lists, pushing you to perfection, keeping you on your toes with their high standards, things like that. They're more preventative in nature. Then we have the firefighters. These are the first responders of our inner world. They are the ones who are going to jump into action when an emotional fire breaks out. Typically, this is when something triggers a deep-seated pain. And unlike the managers who really prefer that order and prevention, firefighters are going to be all about immediate gratification and impulsive relief. They're like that family member who is going to break out the ice cream or suggest a spontaneous road trip to distract from a tough breakup. And so some of their methods might include binge scrolling, overeating, or any activity that kind of numbs or distracts from the distress, including any sort of addictive behavior, drinking, smoking, drug use, stuff like that. Then we have the exiles. These are also referred to as our wounded parts. They tend to hold our oldest and deepest wounds. And these are the vulnerable and hurt parts of ourselves that we have tucked away, hoping to forget, right? They're very raw. They carry the pain of past traumas and rejections and failures. And the exiles are like the inner child in us that was wounded and is still seeking that comfort and resolution. The term inner child was actually coined by Carl Jung, who is a pretty popular psychologist from long ago, and is sort of this instinctual essence within us that remains intact despite all of these layers of experiences and defenses that we accumulate over time. Often when we're working with someone's wounded part or exile or inner child, it often goes back to a particular age when something significant happened or when the person sort of can first identify that they felt kind of exposed, that vulnerability felt exposed, and maybe they felt like they weren't taken care of, their needs weren't met, they were abandoned, things that one has experienced that really kind of carry over into how they operate today. So the whole goal of internal family systems is fostering an environment where all of these parts, the managers, the firefighters, and the exiles, can express themselves without overtaking the whole system. There's a place for each part. We're not trying to get rid of any parts. None of these parts are bad. It's just that we want to approach each part with curiosity and compassion and openness, and recognize that each part really has a positive intention, and that's just to keep you safe, peaceful, and not have that wound get triggered. But sometimes their actions can seem very misguided. So the aim is to bring harmony to this inner family and allowing our true self to heal and lead the system. And our true self is basically the core of our being. So if you think about, who you were when you were first born and you didn't have all of these external influences or experiences that have created certain belief systems or feelings or whatnot, that is your true self, who you are at your core, your essence, your energy, whatever you want to refer to it as, that is your true self. So what I invite you to do is to just kind of start looking at your own behaviors and trying to identify what might be a manager, what might be a firefighter. A lot of times the wounds are tucked away, and so we don't want to necessarily go directly to them and access those, but really just to look at ways that we have these protective or defensive mechanisms working for us. So I hope this was helpful. This is an approach that I incorporate into a lot of my sessions because I think it really helps to clarify why we do certain things and the function of certain behaviors. And I hope you found this helpful. I would love to know if this is something that you've heard about before, or if you've done any of your own work in identifying these parts. So feel free to leave a comment, or if you have a question about anything, I would love to answer any questions. And if you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get notified whenever I put out new content, and that can be found at The Anxiety Therapist on YouTube. All right, I'll see y'all next week.